Northwest Now is supported, in part, by viewers like you. Thank you.
With the coronavirus raging, it's easy to forget the other epidemic millions of people are battling, the ongoing opioid crisis. Tonight, an effort in Everett to clean out, clean up, and help struggling addicts find a new way to a more normal life. That's next on Northwest Now. Snohomish County experiences about 18% of all the state's heroin-related deaths, but only has about 10% of the state's population. Crime boomed in Snohomish in the middle part of the last decade, and so did homelessness. The annual point-in-time count of unsheltered homeless people in Snohomish is now up to more than 673 people. That's a 116% increase since 2015, and the numbers show a disproportionate impact among people of color. The other news in Snohomish County lately hasn't been good either. Along with the departure of Boeing's 787 assembly line to South Carolina is sure to come more economic displacement and stress, or at least a reduction in the capacity to help. But hundreds of people in Snohomish are already under stress, the stress of an addiction they just can't shake. As Northwest Now contributing photojournalist Michael Driver shows us, a group of former addicts are out on the streets trying to make a difference.
When we get contacted by property owners that they have homeless encampments, we try and sign them up for service, get them into detox, treatment, or housing programs. And we let them know that in 2 weeks we're coming in, we got to clean everything out.
Clean it up, volunteering, giving back to the community.
It's a community outreach program that comes in and not only helps clean up the areas of encampments, but also helps the people that are there that are in trouble. Nobody in the Hand Up Project judges.
Father's Day 3 years ago, I had rollen out of a stolen truck, ran from the cops, went over behind Home Depot on 128th and fell asleep on a pallet. They showed up to hand out meals and I got woken up. They said that they could offer me a better life. I mean, if I didn't get off the streets that night, I'd told myself I was going to kill myself that day. It was Father's Day. Hadn't seen my kids. You know, IV drug user. There's nothing, you know, no family, no nothing.
I was always waiting for that knock on the door to be told my son was dead.
I mean, I had nothing, you know, 3 years ago, and I've got family, girlfriend, job, a steady place to live, my own vehicle, all things I never thought I'd have again.
If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have my son. I can't tell you how important these people are to me. They gave me my son back. If it wasn't for them, my son would be dead.
The other day I was looking on Facebook and I was getting all this weird praise and stuff, and I'm sitting there going, I'm one drink or drug away from being that person out there that needs help. That's why I have people that have 5 or 6, 7 years in my program coming out to the cleanups and helping. They realize they need it.
It reminds me of where I came from and where I don't want to go back to.
Thank you! And it's okay to care. You don't need to give them money. Give them my card. Give them my phone number. I put it on silent because 16 missed calls since we started this. But I don't care. I'm going to answer the phone. I'm going to deal with it. And I just need people to know it's okay to care.
Everybody needs love, and the Hand Up Project is love.
I guess it's a way to give back to the community that we terrorized. We went back to the same exact neighborhood that he pulled me out of, the same woods he pulled me out of, and we did a cleanup there. It reminded me what I don't want to go back to.
We just now have a very dynamic family with him back in it. It's wonderful, and it's all thanks to the Hand Up Project.
Yeah, I'm loving life.
Joining us now are Robert Smiley, a former addict and now the president and founder of the Hand Up Project, and Doug Larimer, Hand Up's marketing and fundraising director. Welcome to Northwest Now, guys. Great to have a discussion about your efforts up in Everett and Snohomish County with the addiction and the homeless problem and all the things that are associated with that. Let's first start with your stories. Robert, tell us how you ended up founding the Hand Up Project. What led you into this?
Well, I was a drug addict. I was a homeless addict. I was heavily addicted to crack, and I kept trying to get sober. And this last time, I tried for like 12 years, and this last time, the people in the program, a 12-step program, said, Robert, if you're tired of failing at this program, you might want to actually try it. And what it did for me is immediately when they said that, I could think of all the times that I tried this program, and I decided this would work or that. I picked and choose what aspects I was going to follow. So I soon discovered it wasn't the program, it was me. So I told myself I was going to do this program for 1 year and a day, after which I was going to party. But to get that year and a day, I was going to do everything they suggested, whether I thought it would work or not, or I agreed with it or not, and I did. And it's kind of irritating at the end because I got close to a year and I had no interest in using. I had already started helping others, trying to get people into detox and treatment at that time. It was very difficult, but I was seeing a different me, not the one that I've known all my life. And it was because I was willing to follow the program and get a higher power in my life that I knew could help me through it.
Doug, how did you get led into this work?
Well, you know, I think I came across Robert and Teresa one time when they were doing a camp cleanup around the Alderwood Mall area, and saw their tents out there and was wondering what was going on. And I was looking to do more service for my recovery program, and little by little was able to connect with Robert, and you know, at first started with doing detox runs, taking those that, you know, were ready to go to treatment, you know, up to the detox center, whether it was Port Angeles or up in Burlington, and get them on a path to recovery. And I found for myself that it was, you know, provided a lot of joy because I was able to share my experience, strength and hope in recovery from being, having a few years in that area. And so that was mainly how I got involved and connected with, it was being a backup driver, so to speak, and driving people to detox. So.
What caught our attention about the story was a news release you folks sent out about a cleanup effort you're going to be making near the Everett Mall, I believe it was. First of all, what's the history and the scope of the problem there, and what are you doing when you find a big site or a big encampment? What's the process?
Well, we go in with backpacks and supplies, and we go talk to people, and we let them know that in 2 weeks we got to come in and clean up the whole property, and we offer them the opportunity to get help. We can get them into detox and treatment the same day, or if they need IDs, if they need DSHS, we have a 2-week window to get them on to a better situation. And if not, if they just want to do drugs and stuff, well, they have to do it somewhere else. And then we go in and we clean up everything, but while we're cleaning it up, most of it is with volunteers that we've already worked with to get off the streets. And they come back out to volunteers so that they can see what they were doing in the community when they were using. And it reinforces their desire to stay sober.
Robert, you mentioned this briefly, and Doug, you did too before we started recording. You both mentioned that you can get people into treatment almost instantly. I'm very surprised to hear that because the feedback, you know, we get as outsiders is, well, there's a long line, there's not enough treatment. So what is the deal there? How do you get them into treatment so quickly?
Well, Robert's created some contacts with different detox and treatment centers, and we know their availability. But pretty much what it is like when someone's ready to go, it's a spontaneous and immediate thing, and we want to get them in the process and the path to recovery, you know, before they start thinking again. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I might get a spontaneous phone call and, you know that someone's ready to go and get them into the ER to get cleared and then into detox. But once they get into detox, then there's ways to set up treatment while they're in detox, and then once they get into treatment, the Hand Up Project has clean and sober living environments.
Okay.
And so the idea there is to get them from treatment directly into a clean and sober living environment so they don't find themselves back in the same situation they were in.
You've also both mentioned getting a lot of phone calls. What seeds do you plant in a person where 2 weeks later, well, there's that phone call, I'm done, I have to make a change? How do you do that? What are some of the precipitating factors? Explain that to us.
They know we've got a reputation up there, and they know that we're sincere. When they're ready, we're going to help them, because there's times when they're not really ready, and we still help them. So they already know that we care about them and their future, and we're not doing it because of any guidelines with the county or anything like that. It's all about the individual that's reaching out, and they know we're going to follow them through. Where the system has been breaking down, is it okay if I go into this?
Sure.
Where the system is breaking down is when we're dealing with homeless addicts. People will get them into detox or treatment, and then they come back out to their family or friends. The worst place a homeless addict can go when they get out of detox and treatment is family and friends. They love them right into the graveyard. And we found that if we can get them funding so we can get them into the houses and not have them go to work right away, just give us a month or two of working on their issues and letting them work with the program and volunteering and being around like-minded individuals that they're done. We found that we have a higher success rate.
Yeah.
Because they know they're not alone, and they know they can't get away with anything, because as addicts, we like to manipulate.
Yeah. That comment you made about loving them right into the graveyard kind of gave me chills. Wow. I see the truth in it, though.
Yeah, well, families, they'll come home and they'll do good, and the family will support them, and then when they start going tipsy-turvy, the family, instead of cutting them off and saying, no, you got to go back, they're like, well, if I give him more, maybe they'll stop. And that's not how it works.
Yeah. Yeah, a little tough love in there, too.
I think the other thing that you mentioned which really resonated was the seed being planted, right? I mean, I know for myself and others that have gone through the process of recovery that it might not have happened just immediately, right?
Yeah.
But there was always a thought. There was always okay, I know that there is a path that I can take to get out of here. And, through the Hand Up Project, they have a card or something that they could go back to and go, I'm done,
Yeah.
And so, if we're only planting a seed, that's still very relevant.
Here's something I would really like you guys to hit, too. Probably more so in King County, where they have what some critics have called the homeless industrial complex down there. There is actually, I don't know how significant it is, but certainly a vocal group of people who actually make the argument that that lifestyle is a legitimate lifestyle choice. Don't be taking these people out of the camps. Don't be breaking them up. This is picking on them. Why is this not picking on them? And is there anything in that lifestyle that you see as at all legitimate?
Okay. When I was a homeless addict, I said that stuff so I can continue to use. I wanted to be in a safe place. I wanted to have a job, but I just couldn't stop drinking and drugging, so I just figured, okay, it'll never happen. When we're dealing with clients and stuff like that, or people out there, what we find is that they enjoy the lifestyle. Well, it's okay to enjoy the lifestyle if you're not abusing other people, your fellow citizens, your neighbors. If you're not shoplifting, if you're not being aggressive out of nowhere with the community, enjoy the lifestyle. If it's that good of a lifestyle, you'd probably enjoy it a lot better if you had your own place to live. And when they're out there like this, I'm not saying all homeless addicts are criminals. I'm not saying that at all. But there are a majority that they need to come up with their next fix. So saying that that's a lifestyle and so forth, we live in a city. This city is designed to support people that want to live in a community and support each other and work with each other and not be abused by a fellow man. If they want that type of community, I say find a spot out in the woods or away from the city. City is set up so that it can run and function a certain way, and people can live uninhibited by some of these other things.
Same rules apply, though. Even in a rural area, they're still trashing the whatever acreage they are on. They don't own it, and that's a problem too. And like you said, that lifestyle, you're basically on a march to the graveyard, whether you enjoy it or not. So I guess coming to that place is really one of the buttons that you guys try to push.
Yeah, I think, those that live in those environments, as you go in there and you do the cleanups, you really get to see, wow, the spoils of homelessness.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're looking at baby car carriers and carriages and then diapers and children's socks and needles, I don't know if that's like a lifestyle that anyone enjoys,
Yeah.
But somehow, somewhere along the line, people have been crushed in spirit through addiction. And if we can just go out there and put a hand out to the brokenhearted and offer something, then that's our role. So,
give me a read on this. You guys have been working in the Everett and Snohomish area for a couple of years now. Have things with addiction and the resulting homelessness that it brings gotten better, stayed the same, gotten worse? I want to take your temperature on what your observation is.
Snohomish County, it's getting better. Simply because people are losing jobs, so the homeless situation is increasing. But because Snohomish County is actually taking a sincere look at the different programs that they've tried, that have been tried everywhere else, and found that a lot of them don't work. They're willing to step out, like they're working a pilot program with us, so that they're starting to realize that the best people to deal with this situation are people that came from that situation. Because a lot of the suggestions to solve the problem aren't going to make sense to normal citizens that have never had addiction problems. I don't need them to make sense to them. I need it to make sense to the one that's struggling.
Yeah.
And I also want to add that I hope it's okay to say this, but I tell people we're part of the Charlie Sheen program. I don't know if you remember a few years back his commercials, but everybody deserves a 26th chance. So we never give up.
Yeah.
If they fail, they know to call. It's not easy. We're not going to give up on them.
Yeah, and that relationship piece that you guys bring to it, I think, is important, Doug. You do this prep. You're in the camps for a couple of weeks saying, hey, we're coming. Here are some of the things we can offer. It's not like some of the critics, again, have suggested you don't bust in there, kick the door down, take their stuff, and leave.
No, yeah, our role isn't to do sweeps.
Yeah.
Our role isn't to go and displace people. The Hand Up Project goes and does outreach, and they're offering a path to those that need services. Sometimes we're able to plug them into the detox treatment path. Sometimes we're able to plug them into housing, as Robert was talking about earlier, the family of three, that weren't addicts but needed homes and a job. But the idea is to go in there and let those people know that, hey, there's going to be some authorities coming in here in advance. We just want to offer you, a path if you want it.
Here's a tough question for you, and I hope I ask it correctly, but I'm asking you to parse my question. There's definitely a group in the homeless population, they, got on Oxy because they had, the pill thing happened and they sought out heroin or lost jobs, kind of a combination of circumstances that find themselves there. Then you have this chronic population. It's a subset of the homeless and the addicted who are chronic people. You could offer them anything. That's where they want to be. That's what they want to do. That's how they want to live. What's the difference in those two groups? And is there any solution for the chronic group?
Oh, yeah. Definitely is. Like I said, even though I'm a recovery addict and my heart goes out for the addicts, I also think about the community at hand. We have a set of rules and guidelines that we live by for the community to thrive. And if you don't want to be a part of the community, because that's what I consider those that want long-term homelessness or whatever, if you can't provide for toilets or showers or anything like that, and you expect other people to provide that, you need to go somewhere else. the cities aren't, they're set up to help those that are, here's a good example. Well, here's what we do. When we get people and we're starting to work with them and help them, not just the addicts, but any homeless, we start getting them through the process so that they can get back on their feet and get back into society, get a job and so forth like that. But if they don't want that, then why are they in a city? Cities are designed a certain way. And they do have compassion, they have put up missions and so forth, but once somebody decides they want help or they don't like this lifestyle, we'll give them help. But the people that don't want a solution,
Yeah.
you're victimizing the community, and it's got to stop.
Yeah, and I think they're one of the elements of some of the hard part of this to some degree is what to do, where to go, because getting out of the city and going to Puyallup, which has had a problem with this, isn't necessarily a solution either. The folks in Puyallup don't want it either. Yeah. So it is a tough one. I just wanted to get your take on it.
Well,
so.
That's why I really am grateful for Snohomish County, because they've taken a sincere look at what's going on in there. Before it got way too far out of hand, they started reaching out to people like organizations like ourselves, because now when they call somebody, if I can't help them, I've got a whole list of organizations that can, and I make the connection so we feather them through.
Yeah.
And in other cities like Seattle, it's too complicated. They say call 211 and then a navigator will get back to you in 2 to 3 weeks, and a lot can happen in 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah, the scope of the problem.
I got to do something now.
Yeah, scope of the problem is so big there. Speaking of things that just make your life harder, this is a hard enough problem to deal with. It was a problem before COVID, and it's going to be a problem after. So, Doug, how has COVID-19 and the pandemic played a role in this? Has it made your cleanups harder? Has it made people less willing to engage? What kind of problems has it caused, if any?
Well, I'm not sure the direct impacts. Robert might be able to speak to this more, but the thing that we're definitely aware of is that as the shelter-in-place orders have come into place, the homeless don't have a shelter in place. Mm-hmm. So we've been trying to work with the counties and stuff like that to provide a solution in that. But I would think that it's there might be just as much displacement. I don't know. Robert could probably speak to the displacement of the COVID, but I don't have a direct answer.
Robert, what's your take on how COVID is affecting the problem?
The virus really isn't causing much problems as the situation is created, because we're running across more and more families that are homeless, and they don't want to interact with city or the homeless in the city because victimization.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying everybody in them are criminal, but we don't need everybody. When you're living in a tent, all you need out of 50 tents is one person to go psycho and nobody there to help them. So they stay away from there. And they're hidden, so we can't find them. But the number, I get so many calls from people that are they lost their job. And it's strange because I've gotten calls from people saying, yeah, we're homeless. I got my 2 kids. And they didn't go through this moratorium or whatever about no eviction. They couldn't pay their rent. They packed up and moved because they didn't want to mess with their credit or their rental history. So once things get better, they can get somewhere. And these people they get out there not thinking they're only going to be there, a couple of weeks or a month, and then the situation, they can't get jobs, the kids not healthy, everything. And the COVID and everything, they can't use bathrooms. Everybody looks at them because they're dirty.
Yeah.
And they just throw their hands up, and they're trying to survive.
Yeah, it definitely complicates it for the people involved too.
And there's not enough housing. There's not enough low-income housing.
Our last 60 seconds, I was going to say, what do you need? What are you short of? And how do people get involved if they're interested?
Well, you can go to the handupproject.org, one word, handupproject.org, and if you want to donate, we would readily accept donations and volunteers. If there's someone out there who has also a history of recovery and wants to be of service, we're always looking to build our volunteer list. But for the most part, we we survive off mostly individual donations and volunteers. So resources.
Yeah.
Resources and volunteers and donations is what we need the most.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I appreciate you both coming to Northwest Now. Good discussion about a very complex problem, an interconnected problem that you're dealing with, but it certainly seems like you're having some successes as well. So thanks so much, both of you, for coming.
Thank you.
I did want to mention, though, it's the Hand Up Project, because handupproject.org is another organization that does something different down in Portland.
Good point. We'll put that on a little graphic. Thank you. Addiction is a terrible pre-existing condition, and COVID likes to pick on those already weakened by genetic bad luck or human frailty. The bottom line, the opioid problem isn't going away, but programs like the Hand Up Project are one small component of a response we're going to have to continue long after a COVID vaccine is available and the pandemic is an increasingly distant memory. I hope this program got you thinking and talking. To watch this program again or to share it with others, Northwest Now can be found on the web at kbtc.org, and be sure to follow us on Twitter at Northwest Now. Thanks for taking a closer look on this edition of Northwest Now. Until next time, I'm Tom Layson. Thanks for watching.